This is the Orioles Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Now that's what I call yikes. Oh, that is a head scratcher and one that really sours what started as a hopeful and optimistic trip out west. Thank you for joining me on this Wednesday evening. My name is Luke Slabaugh. I am the Baltimore Orioles post-game host here on the Locked On Podcast Network. These postcasts supposed to be instant reactions after the final out of these games. Had some trouble getting back to the place today. However, not a whole lot to talk about with the smile on my face after a 9-0 loss in the rubber game against the Arizona Diamondbacks out in Phoenix, Arizona. Connor Newcomb will be here with his thoughts at 7 a.m. roughly tomorrow as the Orioles head back to the Mid-Atlantic for a much-needed day of rest and reassessment of this roster, this team's trajectory, and its shortcomings. I've seen a lot of concern and worry in the comments from Orioles fans. Might share a few in these 15 to 25 minutes that we have together here on the Locked On Podcast Network. If you're watching live on YouTube, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you could be anywhere else. I know you could have apathy. I know you could be wanting to look anywhere but your phone or your computer. And to be honest, I'm right there with you. So it's group therapy time. I've seen worry in the comments. Are we panicking yet? Are we panicking yet? This team did not do much to refurbish and upscale its roster over the offseason. Objectively speaking, a top-of-the-rotation starter in Corbin Burnes is no longer here. On the batting side, you're looking to replace or at least carve an identity for this team that doesn't rely on a 44 home run hitter in Anthony Santander. We have seen this team at its best with all cylinders clicking on offense and complementary pitching performances as well when right-handers like Zach Eflin and Tomo Sagano pitch to contact. However, when those elements are missing, everything else falls by the wayside, and you see some base running miscues, which we're going to talk about today, the occasional fielding gaffe, a lot of comments and concerns about all that. Some of these are not PG rated, so I can't share them, but I appreciate you all contributing and giving me your thoughts. I am active in the comment section, and I will go in and I will talk to you guys after the fact, after we're done recording. But again, talking about a 9-0 loss at the hands of the Arizona Diamondbacks as the Baltimore Orioles now fall to 5-8 on the season. Well, when you muster up 4 hits against Brandon Pfaadt and I guess that unhittable Diamondbacks bullpen down in the desert, you don't have many opportunities to plate runs, but there was one early in this game as I was keeping tabs on it where things slipped out of reach, but probably could have resulted in a different outcome. And that's going to be the turning point in this game for me. Brace your ears.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Thanks, Mrs. Locke. Top of the fourth. 2-0 ball game. The Orioles are trailing. Dean Kremer had a topsy-turvy first inning, then gave up a home run to Corbin Carroll, a solo shot. So it's 2-0, top 4. Adley Rutschman, leadoff walk. Ryan O'Hearn also draws a walk. Now, keep in mind, these are the only 2 walks of the game for Baltimore. Tyler O'Neill flies out to right, and then the next batter, Cedric Mullins, there's a ball in the dirt. Reading a ball in dirt is incumbent upon every base runner. Usually the emphasis is on the lead runner, in this case, Rutschman, but even still, if you are trailing, the heat is still on you. They could just as easily play behind you in a bunt defense situation. I know there wasn't one here with Mullins at the plate and an obvious RBI threat, but understand your surroundings in the situation. Last night, for example, Gary Sanchez had a great pickoff play with Jackson Holliday crashing in during bunt defense, getting inside the bag and tagging out. I think it was Perdomo on the foot. A really nice play. So you read ball and dirt. Adley Rutschman able to advance to third. Ryan O'Hearn, turn and burn O'Hearn, as Ben McDonald would call him, did not burn enough in time and was gunned down rather easily. The throw from the catcher kind of led Perdomo into the baseline, but that's a clearly legal, clearly clean play. And 1 out in the inning, and O'Hearn, now the trail runner, tagged out. I understand you want to avoid the double play in that situation, but it is not a given that Mullins would roll over on a pitch in that at-bat. He was hitting to pull, and he did. He flew out to right field on a 3-2 count after O'Hearn was gunned down at second base, and the inning is over. The win probability in the span of 3 batters, from O'Hearn walking to Mullins flying out, went from about 37 for the Orioles to about 20. And so that was the big needle mover. Brandon Pfaadt was working ahead in a lot of counts. He located his fastball as well. He was working the hitters and, had a low walk rate to start this season. And just the one gap in his performance, the Orioles could not capitalize. They could not win on the margins, and that was the turning point. Conversely, Dean Kremer, his counterpart, was shelled. Right-hander, last remaining piece in the Manny Machado trade. It was all right. Starting out. He was prone to the home run ball, had some first inning trouble, a couple of singles, then a sac fly hit to left field. Okay. Solo shot to Corbin Carroll. Carroll's 5th of the season. At least it was a solo shot. Dean was minimizing damages. He actually came back in that inning really well, challenged Eugenio Suarez with a fastball up in the zone, struck him out, eventually got out of the inning. So if you can prove to me that you can make it through 6 innings and you're doing 2-run, 3-run ball, we're cool. Bottom of the 5th, as has been the case with most every pitcher not named Zach Eflin, wheels started to come off. Geraldo Perdomo singles. Pavin Smith cranks one into the right center field pool. 4-0 ball game there in the bottom of the 5th. Nice juicy cutter up there for Smith. Then Josh Naylor. First dinger in a D-backs uniform. Next pitch, back-to-back hanging splitter. 5-0 game. Kremer visibly rattled. Could not get anyone out after that. CNL. Perez comes in, not much better. Gives up a 2-run single to Tim Tawa. And by the time they're out of it, it's a 7-0 game from the ashes of what could have been a 2-0 ball game heading into the middle innings. Final line on Dino: 4 2/3, 6 earned runs, 8 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, and 3, count them, 3 dingers. Well, when it rains, it pours. There's this meme going on around Twitter, or X, formerly Twitter, and I'm sure it's been shared on other forms of social media as well, but kind of the Chad kind of dumbed down male looking at his profile. It says, "I'm having a bad day." Then you got the O's logo, and the Ravens logo says, "Oh, really? We can make it worse." Zach Eflin's going on the IL. It's not the end of the world, but as the only remaining top of the rotation starter for these Baltimore Orioles in 2025, there are consequences and there is fallout from it. We'll talk about that after this break. I'm not trying to sound depressed. It just is. It's like what happens when you watch Pianist with Adrian Brody. Like, you don't smile during that. Snack is delicious and nutritious, and it's going to help fight these tears. It's a good source of protein, and it's Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, gives you 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller and for longer. Obviously, no shells is where it's at. We're supposed to be shells agnostic in this. Shells are amazing. On days like these, though, the extra work, I don't know, man. Whether you're running between meetings or dropping off the kids, wonderful pistachios are the snack that works as hard as you do. Little green warriors, as they are called. Get snacking, get cracking. Thank me later. WonderfulPistachios.com. Learn more about this wonderful snack. Also, want to give a shout out to Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where is all of it? Where's that green stuff? And not the wonderful pistachios, the actual money. Yep, we've all been there, and that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just a budgeting app. We've got a dozen of those. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. That sounds convenient. So you can just stop managing your money and start focusing on what it's all about. And that, my friend, is building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, Monarch Money can check your finances, track spending, and plan your long-term goals. Budgeting was a big goal of mine coming into 2025. And honestly, not the worst case scenario here. I am not losing 9-0 in my finances. So what you can do now, take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB. That's one word, LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Thanks for Monarch Money for sponsoring this edition of the Locked On Orioles postcast. Zach Eflin is on the injured list, and that's what we're talking about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Panic, distress, dogs and cats living in harmony. Announced today, right-hander Zach Eflin is going on the IL with a right lat strain. That move is retroactive to yesterday when he was going through an MRI, which means he could be, he better be, back 2 weeks from today during the Washington Nationals series down in Navy Yard. In his stead, right-hander Colin Selby is up to fill in some gaps in the bullpen. Granted, the O's bullpen's had some low-leverage situations, but Colin Selby did not repeat his cup of coffee performance in 2024. Really small sample size last year, performed pretty well. Finished a few games in AAA Norfolk this season. However, entered this game in the bottom of the eighth. Manager Brandon Hyde just looking for someone to get this thing to the end credits. And it started out well enough. 7-0 ball game in the bottom of the eighth. Gets a fly out and then strikes out Corbin Carroll. Golf clap, golf clap. And then Perdomo homers on a four-seam fastball near the heart of the plate. Pavin Smith doubles, and then Naylor brings him home for a 9-0 final score. I might just put on the hazmat suit and go into the comments right now as we're about 14 rather. Thank you for joining me on the Locked On Orioles postcast talking about this 9-0 loss to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Connor Newcomb will be here at 7 a.m. with his reaction. Nehemiah Lockett says, "Wake up, you sleeping bats." Save Dragon says, "We'll streak this home stretch with the Green Power Rangers avatar." That is insane. You, sir, are a man of culture, or ma'am. You never know. Adam Ritter, and I think I know a Ritter. What are we even doing here? I get there's injury. Offense is lifeless. We just touched on that. Starting pitching ain't great, and has to be some level of accountability here. This early in the season, I wonder, with roster construction, of course, everyone pointing to wait till Grayson is back, wait till Bradish is back. There is a comment here as well. Michael Catania. Rotation trouble, inconsistency in the lineup. There are some comments that I have to skip over. Leah Smith, number one fan on the show, saying, yes, there is panic. There was someone who had mentioned Sandy Alcantara There were a lot of arms on the market. Heck, if I didn't know the Cubs were going to start off so hot and have the best run differential in baseball, I would have thrown out a Justin Steele suggestion, but that ain't happening. So some begrudged comments from you that we just went through. The roster has been downgraded. Several of you last night told me that GM Mike Elias has lost the plot. Looking big picture, and it's hard to when you're 13 games into the season. Orioles now fall to 5-8 after this loss in the rubber game to the Arizona Diamondbacks 9-0. Team had a +3 run differential heading into today. Again, 2 weeks into the season. But what does that tell you? They're okay. When the offense was homer happy and they were tallying 8 runs a game in those blowout wins, you understood. But the point I'm trying to make here is how feast or famine this team has been and how one unit has affected another. As the old saying goes, you can't win the pennant in April, but you can certainly lose it. And after leading the AL in wins over the past 2 season stretch, playoffs are a minimum expectation out of this team, out of this fan base in the Mid-Atlantic, Baltimore, Maryland, and beyond. Part of me wants to say pump the brakes. I am not a sunshine pumper by any stretch of the imagination. Doesn't matter what sport it is, who we're covering, or why. You got to face the facts and face reality. Starting pitching ain't getting it done. And the depth that has been acquired, and I say depth in quotation marks, Charlie Morton, Kyle Gibson, what have you, is in service of what? Zach Eflin now on the injured list. So the rotation moving forward that we all can smile at is Tomo Sagano and Bueller? Anyone? Anyone? You lose one of your horses in Zach Eflin that is supposed to get you to better days. Part of me wants to say pump the brakes. Imagine the caliber of teams that they've gone up against in the first 13 games. These first 4 series now. Royals were a playoff team. Orioles fans know that all too well. Very talented. Blue Jays underperformed a season ago, certainly have high hopes, reconstructed their batting order in a little bit, got Andres Jimenez, got some pitchers that they were high on. They did not make any huge splash moves, but yeah, competitive AL East. Red Sox, certainly sticking it to other opponents and not just Baltimore. They throttled the Cardinals, throttled them. That was rough. And now the Diamondbacks, who made the World Series in 2023, improved their win total in 24, but fell short of a hyper-competitive NL West and the billionaires on the coast, LA Dodgers. Day off Thursday, that's tomorrow. Everyone needs it. You need it. The Orioles need it. Lord knows I need it. And a day off Monday as well. So the Blue Jays series is going to be sandwiched in those 3 games at Camden Yards. 9 games at home. And then a series at Washington. So that's nearly 2 weeks in Maryland proper, 2 weeks in the DMV. I postulate to you, and let me know what you think, and let me know in the comments as we're wrapping up now on the Orioles postcast and 9-0 loss to the Arizona Diamondbacks. This 9-game homestand is going to decide the trajectory of this season. I'm not saying that the season is over in 9 games, but you're going to learn a lot about a team whose run differential is now -6. The math is math in there. Blue Jays and Rays, by the way, still in progress right now. So compared to the rest of the AL East, that would be the worst. And it was tied for the worst with +3. Division is always going to be competitive in the AL East, and we've known that for decades. At least the few decades I've been alive. Let me know if you think I'm overreacting in the comments. But 9 games at home and an extra 3 in the DMV, a Nationals team that's kind of a Cincinnati Reds team that has not plating runs despite some of the talent on the field and the major moves they've made. I mean, you get 6 wins in the next 9 games, this train could be rolling in a good direction. But where are the reinforcements and where is that lifeblood going to come from? Where's the juice? Didn't see it out of the hitters today. Certainly have not seen it out of the rotation. Back at it Friday, Tomo Sagano and a Blue Jays pitcher to be determined. Get a look at the broadcast info right now as we wrap things up. That'll be a Masson 7 o'clock, 7:05. First pitch, Tomo Sagano, 1-1 with a 2.89 ERA. Bats got to wake up. Rotations got to carry this team on its back. Got to eke across 6 innings at least. And Zach Eflin due back 2 weeks from today. Thank you again for watching here live on YouTube. Thank you for listening to the Baltimore Orioles postcast wherever you get your free podcasts. My name is Luke Slaybaugh. I am the post-game show host, bridging the gaps between the games and Connor Newcomb's morning segments. He is here 5 days a week. If you didn't check out his StatCast show or his stat breakdowns, did a really good segment on weighted runs created plus, my favorite stat. He is killing it. I appreciate you all giving me the chance. Let me know what you thought about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, anything I missed, let me know in the comments. Leave a rating and a review. Let me know what you think. I want to make this a really supportive and high-energy community. I want to get to know all of you all here in the Baltimore Orioles community as we wrap this one up on the Locked On Podcast Network. Final score, Arizona 9 and Baltimore 0. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.